So Kevin Feige recently talked about the future of some of the mediocre comedic universe's upcoming projects. Such updates like the story for Spider-Man 4 is already being planned. Now, am I to assume that this time your Spider-Man story will actually feel like a Spider-Man story? And maybe even portray him as a character that's kind of a big deal like they failed to do so many times before? One can hope, but I think Tom Holland is still going to be holding you back.
It's Hollywood, baby. Who knows what's gonna happen?
He also announced that the upcoming Fantastic Four movie will be huge for the MCU moving forward, and that big news is on the horizon for that project. Here's hoping that the news is that they came to their senses and realized that after 3 failed attempts, maybe the Fantastic Four just doesn't translate to live action all that well and they should stop trying. But hey, that's what common sense would tell you. It's going to be even more difficult for this movie to be a success if they continue to use the same writers that they've been using on current projects. But the most intriguing news he revealed was about Deadpool 3. And a move that I thought would never happen in a million years is apparently happening. Let's discuss. Our content sucks. Our content sucks.
I watch so you don't have to.
If there's one thing that I think the MCU is guilty of, besides being predictable, formulaic, and lazy, is that it's gone soft over the years.
S-O-F-capital-T, soft, huh?
In favor of giving us content riddled with cringe comedy and a very juvenile approach to storytelling. And please don't tell me that these stories are just for kids. In the comics, they covered many mature themes over the years using these Marvel characters. Iron Man's Demon in a Bottle storyline comes to mind, among many others. And the reality is that if you had competent writers, directors, and producers making these movies, they would be able to find a way to make these stories appeal to all age groups on different levels, instead of just appealing to the least common denominator. That is, in fact, what great filmmakers are supposed to do.
That makes sense.
But recently, it doesn't seem like the MCU is capable of doing that. So now comes the news that I thought I would never hear, especially in this soft version of the MCU we currently find ourselves in. But it has been officially announced that Deadpool 3 will in fact be the first ever R-rated movie in the MCU. The question is, am I surprised they are actually going through with it? Yeah, I am a little bit. Does it make me optimistic that Deadpool 3 will offer something different in the way of quality than what we've been getting in the MCU? No, I do not.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
The truth is that they can tell me that they're stepping out of their comfort zone and doing an R-rated movie. You can tell me that Ryan Reynolds will still have full creative control and be allowed to keep the same energy in this Deadpool movie that he had in previous ones. But when it comes right down to it, I will need to see it to believe it. Because in the MCU, zero precedence has been set for this type of thing. The other thing that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios is known for is micromanaging every project. Sometimes to the point that they cease to be what was originally intended by their creators.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
I even think I remember a story early on, right after Disney bought Fox, where Disney was already shutting down some jokes that Ryan Reynolds wanted to use in the next Deadpool movie, basically removing all of his comedic freedom. Now, things may have changed since then, but only time will tell. But do you want to know what really scares me about Deadpool 3 under the Disney banner more than anything? It's Hugh Jackman's inclusion in this movie.
Go f*** yourself, pretty boy.
I love Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine. To me, he was born to play that role, and I have zero desire to see anyone else play him. And as I think back, I remember when I was one of the people who was defending Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, when these fake fans who are suddenly excited about his return used to all over him, simply because he was not a part of the MCU, because that's typically how things work. It's very similar to how everyone was suddenly a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fan after No Way Home, because we live in this world where people just jump on bandwagons, and they're typically not consistent with their criticisms.
Anybody care about what I want?
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
But that's neither here nor there. Yes, a Wolverine and Deadpool movie should be rated R, but my question is, will this movie ruin the perfect send-off that the Wolverine character had in Logan? Will Wolverine and Deadpool be allowed to be the characters that they are? In Wolverine's case, Based on current MCU projects, Marvel Studios isn't exactly crazy about the alpha male type character.
You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
So my question is, will Disney and Marvel do something to undermine that? And in a worst case scenario, even suggest that he pass the torch to another character? Because we all know that's something that Marvel just loves to do now. We know that Hugh Jackman won't be sticking around forever. He's indicated that this will be his last portrayal. He has said that before. And we know that Disney Marvel wants to introduce us to their own version of mutants and the X-Men. So will all of this come at a price? That being the desecration of yet another beloved character. It's a real concern if you ask me, and something that a lot of people really aren't talking about. It will really depend on how much Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman stuck to their guns. How much freedom do they actually have? Is it Sam Raimi in Multiverse of Madness kind of freedom? Or is it actual freedom?
No, screw your freedom.
I trust Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman not to ruin these characters. I do not trust Disney and Marvel, who is running the whole show. Anytime you integrate new characters into an established universe, especially a universe like this one, most likely these characters will have to conform in some way in order for them to fit properly into that universe. Especially with Marvel being as formulaic as it is.
That's right, it stinks!
The best case scenario would be this movie has minimal connection to the MCU, or even makes fun of the MCU for its very real flaws. Best case scenario, we get a cool story that embraces the odd couple relationship that Deadpool and Wolverine have. Best case scenario, these characters are treated with respect, and continue to be the same characters that a lot of people know and love. Rumors of Hugh Jackman playing two different versions of Wolverine has me even further concerned about this, by the way. The R rating is great, but the rating isn't everything. If that's your only selling point, we could be in for another disaster come November 2024. If you like what you heard here, smash that like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Y'all be cool. Right on.